Sean Diddy Combs found not guilty on the most serious charges against him. He was found guilty on lesser charges. And joining us now, it's Jonathan LaVoy, defense attorney from LaVoy and Kim. Thanks for being here.
Sure.
It seems like Diddy is celebrating this as a huge win for him.
As he should. The racketeering charge was a big deal. That carried with it 15-year mandatory minimum and up to a life sentence. So he beat the biggest charges, and he was convicted of the charges that we anticipated he likely was going to be convicted of, the much less serious charges.
Let's talk about that racketeering charge. A complicated charge brought really back in the 1970s to fight the mob, these RICO charges. It's now used more often. Why didn't it work in this case for the prosecution?
It's a conspiracy. So they had to prove that there was a organized group of people accomplishing a criminal goal. And I think the jury just believed that Mr. Combs was the only guy. They weren't able to establish a conspiracy, that there was a group of people engaging in a series or course of conduct of criminal activity. So I think the jury struggled with it. As you saw, the jury was hung up on that charge for a while. But I think the jury understood the gravity of that charge and ultimately decided that the state or the government had not proven their case.
It was interesting because just yesterday the jury went into the courtroom and told the judge, we can't make up our mind. There are people on both sides of this racketeering charge that they won't switch sides. Suddenly, the judge tells them to go back in, and they've come to a unanimous decision. Surprised by that?
Not really. Sometimes a good night's sleep. Sometimes just going home, decompressing, coming back in the morning, and rethinking things makes all the difference in the world. The jury knew that it was up to them to make this decision, and I think they finally came to the conclusion that since they were all not in agreement, the government just didn't meet their burden of proof.
They did find him guilty on 2 counts of transporting for prostitution. Will he spend time in prison?
So those each carry with it a maximum penalty of 10 years. The government's saying they're seeking a consecutive prison sentence. But remember, Mr. Combs has no prior criminal history, and there are sentencing guidelines in the federal court system that will probably put it at a much lower sentence. So I expect him to serve some prison time, but I don't think it's going to be very long.
His defense did not put up any witnesses, and a lot of people were surprised by that, but it seems his lawyers used the prosecution's evidence against their own case.
Correct. I think the text messages from the girls involved, from the victims involved, showed that there potentially was some participation or consent to some of these activities, and the defense used that evidence to show that there was doubt in the 2 serious charges that were against him.
Your takeaway on this, a lot of times in federal court we think, man, these are all slam dunk charges. Wasn't the case here for the most serious charge against Sean Diddy Combs.
This was a monster prosecution with the government spending an enormous amount of time and energy. It's very rare the federal government loses a case of this magnitude, but this was a significant defense win, and it helps when you have a famous client, and it helps when a person has the resources to hire good lawyers, and it's clear a victory for Mr. Combs in this situation.
Well, we appreciate a good lawyer coming in here and kind of breaking us all down for us.